Said you can bury the workman, but the work will go on. You can silence the voices, but you can't stop the song.
Welcome to Wheeling the Pathways of Life Unplugged with your host, Brain Fitzpatrick. Wheeling the Pathways of Life Unplugged is a snapshot of the day-to-day experiences of disabled individuals as they navigate the world around us. We wish to shed light and open your eyes on a new perspective of people with disabilities. And by going unplugged, we can discuss viewpoints we hope will challenge our viewers' points of view. Most of us have disabilities we must live with, but what defines us is the way we deal with them. And now, here's your host, Brain Fitzpatrick.
Good afternoon, folks. This is Brain Fitzpatrick coming to you live from the facilities of Pittsfield Community Television and WTBR 89.7, anyway, WTBR. And today, I'd like to explain a little bit about the opening of my show. For the most part. Because if you pay attention to the song and if you pay attention to the first couple words of the song, the work will go on, okay? Means long after I'm gone, the work has to continue, okay? And any work that we do here on Earth, as long as there's human life on Earth, long after we're gone, the work will have to continue. Now, it's basically, we all have to do the same thing week after week. We have the same problems, but the work still has to continue, no matter who's doing it. My work, I will try to do everything I can and try to get you all the information you need. But inevitably, the work is going to have to continue after I'm gone. And after I stop doing the show, which I don't plan on doing, but I just wanted to explain a little bit about the work must go on, and that's where you come in. If you're listening to my voice and you don't understand what the work has to be, the work that I'm talking about has to be done. What I mean is advocacy, being kind to people with disabilities, being able to have discussions that are tough with staff, knowing when to ask for stuff, knowing when to say, enough's enough out of the bureaucracy of the government. And government is there for a purpose, but the purpose is not to run our lives. The purpose is to help us. And they gotta know the difference between working for us and working against us as their jobs. Now, we as human beings tend to blame everything on the administration and everything going on in the world today. Well, not only does that go back to Adam and Eve, that goes back to we are human beings. We want things the way we want things, and we need things the way we need things. What I mean by that is we have we need to have reasonable expectations, but people need to listen to our reasonable expectations. And what I mean by reasonable, don't ask them for something you know they're not going to be able to get. I mean, people say to me all the time, yeah, ask for the stars and you may get some. But if you ask for something that you know is ridiculous to ask for, and you know for a fact they can't do it, why ask for it? Because we as disabled individuals shouldn't be asking for stuff that we know we're not going to get. We should be asking for stuff that we know we should get and we know we can get. Yeah, one of the big things I'm talking about as far as that goes is respect. And noticing that behind the wheelchair, I am a regular person. And beyond the fact that I'm in a wheelchair, I'm a regular person. And that, just because you see the surface, you see the show, you see the outer surface of my body doesn't work. But my brain, as far as my thinking process and stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. When I say that, I'll explain something else in a minute. Inherently, anybody that has depression and stuff like that, they say obviously there's something wrong with your brain, so obviously you don't know what you're talking about when you have depression and when you are not everybody says this, but some people say you don't know what you're talking about. You're mentally unstable in the way you're thinking and stuff like that. Well, that's a disability in and of itself, because you can still think, you can still have a discussion. You just have a problem with depression and stuff, because some depression and stuff is chemical imbalances. And yes, it is a disability, but yes, it can be overcome. So what I'm saying to you is, you gotta be nice to people, you gotta be able to work with people on what you want to get across, and basically don't think no for the answer. Ask people, why not? Why can't we do this? Why can't we try to do this? Why can't we try to have discussions? They may not work, but the ideas may not work, but as long as we sit back and don't try to do something, nothing's gonna get done. And you'd be amazed on what some of my friends can do, and some of what I can do as an individual. As I always say, this is the strongest advocacy program that I've developed, and dare I say, this is one of the only one of its kind on public access. I mean, there are other advocacy, and the Pittsfield Community Television does do commission for people with disabilities on the air, but there is no show that is going to be as sorry guys, as straightforward and as fun, as straightforward and as informative as mine. Okay? There are shows out there, and there are great shows, like the Disabilities Commission. They will tell you what the city is doing and what needs to be done in the city. But what they won't do is give you a play-by-play of what happened during the week and a reason they'll give you reasons why they need to do things for them, but I'm not doing it for me. I'm not doing it for the, I'm doing it for the city of Pittsfield, but I'm doing it for people beyond the city of Pittsfield. I'm doing it so they can realize, people can realize, hey, you have a valid purpose, you have something to offer, you have a situation where there are ways that people with disabilities can contribute in life, and I'm gonna say this way, and I'll explain why I said this in a way in a minute. This way in a minute. I'll explain why I said this way in a minute. We as disabled people, I've heard this said in this way many times, not recently, but throughout my years. What good are you? Because basically you're a waste of space. You don't have a purpose. You're in a chair. You can't do anything physically. You can't contribute to society. You can't do this. You can't do that. Well, let me tell you something. I hope this show today and any other shows that I do is proving people wrong, that I can do something, I can contribute, I can give something valuable to people, and I can make a difference. Like I always say, if one person changes their view, or one person stops and thinks before they say something to a disabled person, or in general to people when they stop and think, whoa, before I say this, I saw a show on this that this would offend some people if I said this. I shouldn't look at it this way because people in a wheelchair can be productive members of society. I shouldn't look at it this way because people with walkers can still be productive members of society. People with glasses have a disability, but that doesn't mean anything. That to them, it's insulting if you say, you got glasses, so you got a disability. No, I have a physical aid. It doesn't mean that I'm not able to do the same things you are. Yes, I may not be able to put one foot in front of the other like you, but I still do things, I still function, I still talk on the phone, I still use the computer, I still send emails, I still deal with some of the same things you deal with, but I deal with them in a much different way. Everybody thinks because let me be honest and say this. Some people, I would say 75 to 80% of the people that I run across that do not understand disabilities, right? Just because we're different physiologically or without a different physiologically because we don't walk. Okay? Yes, physiologically we have a disability, we need a chair to be mobile. That does not make us disabled mentally. That just makes it so we don't have to walk, we can't walk, but it doesn't mean we can't do what we need to do. And to be quite frank with you, people with the attitudes that I described, okay, and I delayed there for a second, people with the disability, people with the mentality that I just described, as such as thinking that people with a physical disability are completely disabled and can't be productive members of society. I hate to tell you, okay, those people in my control room probably gonna be shocked when I say this, but they're probably gonna be shocked when I say this, but those are the people that have the the biggest form of disabilities they're able to see. If they think just because we've got a physical disability doesn't mean we can't do anything, doesn't mean we can't get things done that we need to get done. It's just a physical challenge that we all have, and everybody's got physical challenges. Everybody's got aches and pains, everybody says, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. Well, if you don't get out of bed, nothing gets done. Right? And I could very easily say to people, if I wanted to, and I say this, when you look at me in a chair, Kelsey, now you can pull out if you would, please. Okay. If you look at me in a chair, I could very easily say, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let everybody else do everything around me. I'm not that type of person. I want to be involved in everything that I can be to keep my mind going, to keep my thought process going, to keep things that I can control. Things that I can control, I want to be able to control. Okay, Kelsey, you can come back in now. Thank you. I want to be able to control everything I can control, because we all want to control our environments and we all want to control our certain situations. But let me tell you something else. the only person that is in control is God. And we can decide what we want to do in life. We can decide what direction we want to go, but the direction we go may not be the direction we wind up with at the end of the day. Because God at least tells me, and probably many more people, whether they realize it or not, we are not in control. He is. And whether or not we want to think we're in control. We don't need to listen to anybody else. But God puts people in our lives to guide us. And God puts people in our lives to give us support and give us assistance to where God wants us to be if we're ready to pay attention to where He wants us to be. And if my speech today is resonating with you, that a lot of people in your lives as disabled individuals are telling you you're not worth anything, don't listen to them. As long as you can speak and as long as you can give a one-finger answer by pushing a button to communicate on a computer, make your voice heard, make your don't give up and say, people say, you're not worth anything. Well, let me tell you something. Those people that say that, they're not worth your time, they're not worth your energy, saying to them, don't take what they say as gospel. God put you on this earth. He wants you here for a reason. And there are people out there that will say, well, what can we do with that person? How can we help them be a productive member of society because they can't do anything? Well, what I say to that is, they can't do anything because you're not trying to do anything with them. And we all make mistakes. Let me tell you something else. Caregivers can make mistakes too. Situations can develop where caregivers become complacent. They say, oh, this person doesn't do this while I'm here, so anybody talking to anybody about that with that particular caregiver, I'm probably gonna say, I haven't seen that person do, I haven't seen this individual do this with me, so he's probably not gonna be able to do anything anyway. Because he hasn't done it with me doesn't mean that I can't do it, or doesn't mean that the next person that they work with can't do anything for themselves, or can't. By you not allowing people to do things for themselves, okay, as caregivers, you're doing them a disservice by finding out if they can do it at all. Okay? If you say you walk into the doctor's office, because I've had this happen to me several times, where a doctor will ask my mother a question, and you know what she used to do? She'd turn around and say, "That's fine." We don't think Brian will communicate. And the answer from the doctors was, "We don't think Brian will communicate." She said to the doctor, she said, "Ask him. He'll tell you." And let me tell you something. The next time I went in to see that doctor, it was a pediatrician. I told him what was wrong with me instead of him telling me what was wrong with me, because I was able to communicate with him. My mother didn't say a word. And you know what he said? "Man, remember the time I said Brian would never talk?" So you cannot say to somebody that they are never gonna amount to anything. People that genuinely care about people do make mistakes, and when we come back after this quick PSA break, I will continue with some of the mistakes they make, some of the mistakes caregivers make, and how they can easily correct them with a bit of communication and understanding of their clients they work with. Even though they work with them for years, they can still improve on what they need to do. When we come back, I'll finish that conversation. We will be right back, folks. Thank you.
I have a maker. He formed my heart before even time began. My life was in his hands. He knows my name. He knows my every thought. He sees each tear that falls and hears me when I call. I have a Father. He calls me his own. He'll never leave me, no matter where I go. He knows my name. He knows my every thought. He sees each tear that falls and hears hears me when I call. He knows my name. He knows my every thought. He sees each tear that falls and hears me when I call. You hear me when I call. He hears me when I call.
Good afternoon, folks. This is Brain Fitzpatrick bringing you an episode of Wheeling the Pathway to Life. And today is just a time when I'm telling you, in my opinion, the job will never get done. The job will never be done until God comes back to take us out of here. But dealing with people with disabilities and dealing with people with different opinions and having the ability to know when you're helping and when you're not helping, as far as giving them. Helping people too much is worse than helping people not enough. Prime example, the way I'm dressed right now, okay, is the way I want to be dressed, not the way the people want to dress me. I need a 3-button shirt because I need to put the microphone where I can get, where you guys can hear me. So that is my choice. That is the choice of that's the choice of me doing a TV production where I need the microphone where people can hear me. So that's not somebody else deciding for me what I need to wear. Okay? What is what it is giving me the ability to say, no, I want something else. I want, like, by example, today, my staff actually put my pants on backwards today. Okay? Because I'm sitting in a chair. Does it really matter? Okay. And you know what the response was? It matters to me because that's where I take you, that reflects on me taking you on the community. If anybody sees you on the community, that reflects on me. Okay? Yes, it does reflect on you, but if I don't say I don't want it changed, that reflects on me being who I am. Okay? What I'm saying is, being a PCA requires caring for the people, but it also requires giving the person the freedom to be who they are and who they're meant to be. At the end of the day, as long as I'm not naked, and as long as I'm not dressed so inappropriately you can see skin or something and see stuff that you're not supposed to see, it doesn't matter what I look like. Okay? It matters what's inside my brain instead of what's on my body. Okay? The way my clothes are, the way I look, doesn't matter. It matters out of respect, and it matters for decency, and it matters, it's not my style. But in a way, what you're thinking and what you say mean more than what you wear. I mean, no, I don't want you to think that the PCAs don't take care of me and don't. What I'm saying is, it's the same thing with me as it is with teenagers in high school. If the teenagers in high school want to wear their pants baggy and stuff, that's their choice. Okay? That's their different style. It doesn't mean the way they wear their clothes doesn't mean the way they think is the wrong thing to think about. Or the way they talk does not mean that what they have to say is not important. Okay? The way that we have to conduct ourselves today is based on appearances. It's not based on, well, you have something valuable to say, you should listen to us. It's based on how we look and how we act in society. It's how people view us, which is the right thing to do, but more importantly, it's not how we act. It's how we act is important, but the information we give is equally as important as the way we act. We gotta make sure not only the way we act is biblical and easily understood and easily interpreted. Things are interpreted the way they're going to be interpreted, but you can't control that, but you can control the way you deliver the information. Okay? And if you do it in a loving way, like I'm trying to do now, it's more receptive than if you do it in a negative way. Like if you are talking to a bunch of teenagers and you walk up to them and say, you know what, next time you talk to me, you gotta look this way. You gotta be this way. Well, they're more likely not to respect you because you don't understand them. Okay? There's a difference between being offended by what they wear and by how they act. But if somebody wants to be different, that's fine. It's just knowing the difference between having them be different than having them be disrespected. I mean, there's a difference between being different and being disrespected. Right? If you're looking at somebody because they're different, you're saying you don't like it. You don't know them. Just because they're wearing clothes differently, you don't know the person you're dealing with. Okay? You won't know that until you talk to the people. So people with disabilities is the same way. If you want to get to know people with disabilities, get to know them, get to understand who they are, not what they look like. Don't base your decision on how they are on the outside. How they are on the outside doesn't mean how they are on the inside. Their physical disabilities may have them in a way, or looking a certain way, or not looking normal according to what people think. But just because they're not looking normal doesn't mean they don't think normally. Doesn't mean they don't look at themselves and say, oh, I wish that guy would spend more time with me because I have so much more to say that is so important to what he's trying to do, or I can help him, but just based on the way I look, he won't take the time and look at me and talk to me. And this is what the problem is in society. It's about the appearances of other people. And the appearances can be deceiving, and so can the fact that we're in a chair and we don't have, there's not a darn thing we can there's not a darn thing we can do because we got a physical disability. Let me tell you something. The physical disability does not mean we don't have a thing to say or a opinion on how things should be done, or that we're not the actual members of society, we don't vote or anything. I can tell you one thing, I am a registered voter. I still make decisions around here. I still do what other people do. And what I can do is try to encourage you that anybody tells you you can't do something, ask them why. Ask them what their opinion is about it and where they've got their opinion. And let me tell you something. If they have that opinion, either they are misinterpreting something, or they have a very closed mind, because everyone on this earth can't do things for themselves. Right? They can't do everything. Everybody has a disability in some way, shape, or form. I think that if people say they don't have a disability on this earth, they're fooling themselves. Everybody can't do everything they want to do. There's things that I want to do that I can't do. Do I still want to do them? Yes. Am I realizing that I can't? Yes. Am I realizing how to get help? Yes, I am. Am I realizing how to tell other people how they can get help too? Yes, I am. Am I as productive in society as I can be right now? I think so. And if I'm not, people will tell me. And if you rely on other people like we're supposed to, and rely on one person in particular, you have more ability than what you think, even though you're quote unquote disabled. If you rely on God and other people to help you, you are more able-bodied than the disability is not looked at. What's looked at to me is the able-bodied people that say they are able to do things without other people. They are the most disabled people I ever did see in my life. If they say they can do everything without anybody else or without guidance from somebody else or something else outside this earth, and Jesus is the only, in my opinion, Jesus is the only way to heaven. If you don't accept Jesus Christ and understand that He's the only way to heaven, you do have a big disability. No physical disability is going to fix it. No physical therapy or no physical situation is going to fix that. Alright? You are very, very lost and very misguided if you think you can do it all by yourself. All the power to you, but I hate to tell you, I am the most physically disabled person. But with Jesus and my Heavenly Father, I am the most able-bodied human being there is on this earth. Because I know I have a dedicated person to guide me and to take me through situations that without him, I wouldn't be able to make it through situations that I've already made it through. Okay? Real quick, remember, I've had cancer. Remember, I've gone through 16 surgeries in my life. Yes, I'm in a chair, but with the number of surgeries I've had and the number of obstacles that I have, I could have gave up a long time ago. Okay? If it wasn't for somebody else being in my life and something else being in my life, the spiritual guidance from God, would I be here today talking to you? Would I be here today trying to encourage you that you can do whatever you want to do in life? And not whatever you want to do in life, but whatever God's got for you to do. And the only way to tell what God wants you to do, and this is probably the last thing I'm going to say on this subject for this week, is that He's going to suggest things for you. Okay? He's going to make it known what He wants you to do. But He's also going to ask you to step out and do things to see if that's what He wants you to see, so you can see if that's what He wants you to do. And even though you don't necessarily believe me right now, if you go and try to step out and do something you want to do, let's see if you actually can do it. If you have obstacles in your way and stuff and doors are closing, that must be something that God doesn't want you to do. Try it a different way. Try caring about somebody else. Try giving somebody else more of their attention than yourself. Try giving God the glory, God the situation, and let Him take on the consequences of what's going to happen. Because if God can die for us, He can get you through any situation you're in, and He can guide you in the right area. And what I'm going to do from now on is guide you with my knowledge of not only who He is, but what I've dealt with disabilities, and try to guide you in ways that you may not think are as critical as they could be if you didn't try to do things. Because I can't prove everything in your situation, but I can say this: what I have tried in my life works for me. And if I can help one person with my situations not go through what I've been through in situations in the past, then I've done my job. With that, folks, I will continue to have guests on to talk to you and have conversations with me. But the main purpose of this show is for me to talk to you and give you real life practical situations. And I hope you enjoyed this show, and we will see you all next week. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Be safe. And remember, don't let anybody tell you you can't do something, because you can, even though you do it in a different way. Thank you, folks. Have a great afternoon. This has been Brian Fitzpatrick, bringing you an episode of Wheeling the Pathway to Life We will see you all next week. Thank you.
Said you can bury the workman, but the work will go on. You can silence the voices, but you can't stop the song.